Welcome back. Well, there's no doubt that COVID-19 has had a profound impact on the travel industry. Looking ahead, many of us are wondering, will we be able to take a vacation in the next year? Joining us with the results of a recent survey is the Senior Vice President for Global Public Policy and Communications at Airbnb. It's Chris Lehane. Thanks for joining us, Chris.
Thanks so much for having me. I hope everyone is healthy and as safe as they can be in Milwaukee.
Thank you. We appreciate that here. We definitely share that sentiment with our viewers as well. And we know people are looking forward to traveling. Once again, Chris, I think it's one thing that we've all just felt, just so stifled in the last year, not being able to do anything. It's really not helped us, with our mental state. And so what are some of the biggest travel trends you're seeing at Airbnb coming for the next year when it's safer?
Yeah, you're 100% right. You're seeing this, what people have described as, really health issues around the loneliness aspect that has been a consequence of the pandemic. What we're seeing is something that we're broadly calling live anywhere. And it's this idea that where you live, how you work, where you travel, even where you're staying are all beginning to blend together in a different way as a consequence of COVID. And we're seeing that manifest itself really in three distinct ways. The first is something called staycations, this idea that you and your family can get in a car, drive a couple hours and get an entire home that you can stay in. The second is the importance of integrating into your travel the ability to remotely work. Obviously, more and more people are working remotely, but they're finding ways to actually take vacations that build in that aspect. And so potentially their travel becomes more extended, more expanded. And then the third piece that we're seeing is something that we call pod travel. To your point, people want to travel. They want to get the connections that are really good for them from traveling, but they want to do it in a safe and responsible way. And so looking to travel with a group of close friends or with family members, so they're getting those connections that you get from interacting with other humans, but doing it in a way where they're able to really prioritize their health and safety. Ultimately, people want to travel, but the way they're traveling is really beginning to change as a consequence of the pandemic.
Yeah, I think everybody resonates with what you just said. What are some of the destinations, I guess, that you're seeing, though, for people who are, looking to travel and that they're seeking out?
Yeah, in many respects, and I say this as an older guy here, but these are a little bit of old school vacations where people are, as I talked about, really getting into this car and driving, but they're looking to go to places that maybe they would have done for a week with their family in the summer or a week between Christmas and the New Year, by a lake, by a national park, by a beach. But now looking to do it in a more extended fashion because they're able to get really these whole homes and then be able to actually work and bring their families with them. The other thing that we're really seeing is people are really looking for what we call unique, authentic types of homes themselves. It could be an A-frame up in the Dells. It could be a treehouse, a yurt, a barn. In Wisconsin, we actually have a World War II submarine that the Wisconsin Maritime Museum actually has on Airbnb. You could go to Florida and stay in an entire baseball park. And so I do think as people look to do that travel, to get those connections, they're also looking for the specific house or accommodation itself to help facilitate that.
That sounds cool. I also love the fact that you mentioned a yurt. I've stayed in a yurt, and I think that's so cool. So I love that. Safety is number one.
I think if I'm keeping my data right, and I could be a little bit off on this, but I think we have around 3,000 or 5,000 yurts on the platform. So you could actually, if you're interested, maybe if you like a yurt, you could also do a potato in Idaho if you're looking for that, a whole big potato.
Oh my God. I mean, those are the kinds of trips that you remember, the maritime, the potato, yes, the yurt, everybody's worried about safety. And so I guess whether you're the traveler or whether you're someone who hosts people through Airbnb as well, what do you suggest in terms of safety and what are you seeing?
Yeah, incredibly important question. And whether it's on Airbnb or anywhere, right, foundational to any decision that you should be making and prioritizing for you and your family. And on Airbnb, I think there are three unique things that we do. One I've referenced already, which is ability to have an entire whole home. It's a space that you have control over. There's no common spaces at your own place, multiple bedrooms, your own kitchen. You can control who you engage with, who you interact with. Number two, we have a required enhanced cleaning protocol that our hosts are required to adhere to that has 5 different steps built into it. and it was developed based on the counsel of leading public healthcare experts, including the former Surgeon General of the United States. And then the third piece is Airbnb hosts and guests rate each other. One of the aspects that they rate one another on, a guest rates a host on the cleanliness and safety of the property. And what that really means is that hosts and guests have interests aligned on this. If you're not getting a high rating, particularly now more than ever on health and safety from a guest to a host, that host pretty quickly gets migrated off the platform.
That's
and really
important.
a result of all that is the vast majority of our hosts have incredibly high ratings.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you so much for joining us, Chris. I think searches for potatoes are going to go up on Airbnb. We appreciate it.
Potatoes and submarines in Wisconsin. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure. Airbnb.com for more.